Welcome to class 7 of secretarial practice. Undoubtedly, the company secretary plays a very important role in the company. He or she also enjoys some powers and rights. So, today we will discuss the powers and rights of company secretary. The company secretary is a high level officer, right? He is a high level officer. He enjoys certain rights and power as per the contract made with the company. So there will be a contract between a company secretary and the company for a particular period or duration. So there are some rules and rules which is been agreed upon, or some conditions. So some agreements will be done. So based on that contract basis, what are the rights and the powers which are given to the company secretary? The first power is supervision and control. As the head of the office, a company secretary has the right to supervise, direct, and control all office activities of subordinate officers. So, which means here, as I have explained you in the previous class, all the departments will be under the secretary. Okay, as the executive head, so the company secretary is going to supervise and control secretarial and other departments of the company. So they have a power to appoint or dismiss the staff working under them, and that will be based on the board's decision. So based on the board's decision, so they can exercise the power of appointing or dismissing the staff working under them. So the next point says signing authority. So what is this signing authority? Being a principal officer, a company secretary can sign contracts, proceedings of the meeting, files and documents on behalf of company, which mean being a principal officer. So he has a right to sign every document of the company, but the condition is on which the secretary is going to sign, whichever document it may be relating to the company. So that document should be affixed with the common seal of the company. The next is exercising power. So exercising power. What is exercising power? So power is given to you. So you have the power, but to exercise that power, you need some permission, right? You need some permission. So before that, I am going to clear you difference between the right and power now. So here, if you are thirsty, you need water, right? And to have the water, so it is your right. So it doesn't mean you can have water from someone else's bottle, right? So what you are going to do, whatever bottle you are going to get, and you are going to have it from that. So it doesn't mean you go somewhere, someone has filled the water in their bottle and you go directly and drink it. No. So why? You don't have that power. So only when they give you the permission to have it, only then you can have it, right? So here you are going to exercise the power. Exercise the power means the power will be given by someone to have you the water. So you are going to have it. So having it means you are going to exercise the power. So secretary, if they want to exercise such powers, so they should get some authorized permission, or the authority should be given to them by the board of directors. As I have told you in the first point, supervision and control. So secretary has the power to dismiss or appoint the staff working under him. What does it mean? As the executive head, he can do, or he can appoint, or he can dismiss the staff. But to exercise that power, he should have the board decision. So depending upon the board's decision, you are going to dismiss or appoint. The next is issuing Testimonial. So what is this testimonial? Testimonial is nothing but a formal statement testifying someone's character or qualification, or in very simple words we can say personal recommendation or support of particular truth, we call it as testimonial, right? So suppose you want to go for your further studies, so what you do, you are asked to get the recommendation from your previous colleges, or you are asked to get the conduct certificate. So the college will recommend you on college will recommend you, right? So here formal statement that testifies someone's character or qualification, or the personal recommendation given. So your company secretary on behalf of company is going to give you the testimonial, so testimonial to the employees. The next is claiming salary and damages. As per the contract, he has the right to claim his salary and other allowance. He can also take the legal action against the company if there is any breach of contract, right? So claiming salary and other allowance. What does it means? When you are going to claim, when you do not get it, you are going to claim, right? So for as per your contract, it is said you will be given 10,000 per month, and suppose you are given or provided with only 9,000 rupees, so you may claim, right? You may ask, you have a right to claim where those 1,000 rupees, or where that 1,000 rupees went, right? So salary and other allowance, so allowance means the extra amount what you are going to get along with your salary, so that we call it as allowance, right? So here salary and other allowance, if you are not going to get it as per the contract what is made, you can claim it. Along with that, you are also, or being a secretary, you also have a right to take a legal action against the company if there is any breach of contract. So what does it mean now? Breach of contract. So there is a contract. So for example, contract of 1 year. As I have explained you in the previous class, when there is a winding up of company, as you are going to wind up, secretary will also be discharged from his office as the other employees, right? Other employees. So now what happens? Breach of contract, and if that winding up takes place within or before the end of the contract what the company has made with the secretary, so then at that time he can claim for the damages what is been suffered by him due to this breach of contract, right? Breach of contract is nothing but breaking of contract. The next is preferential creditor. So similar to your last point, during the winding up of company, the company secretary can claim his legal dues as preferential creditor, right? At the time of winding up, so what we are going to do, we are going to settle all the amounts to the preferential creditor first. So then what we are going to do, whatever is left we are going to share it with the equity shareholders, right? So here what happens, as a preferential creditor, at the time of winding up, the company secretary can also claim for the legal dues. So suppose any due is there, as I said, you claiming for salary and damages, any due. So in such cases, the company secretary as a preferential creditor, they can claim it. Then the next is attending meeting. He has the right to be present in the meeting of the shareholders and the board of directors. So as I have told you, the board of directors are going to make the board meeting. Shareholders meeting will be your annual general meeting and so on. So board meeting is separate from the shareholders meeting or the general meeting. But in both the meetings, the secretary have a right to attend. So note this slide. This slide speaks about restriction on the powers and rights of the company secretary. So you have some powers, you have some rights as a company secretary, but to exercise that power and right, so you have some restriction. So a company secretary enjoys certain rights and powers, but there are some restrictions to his rights and powers. So they are, the first is distribution and transfer of shares. So the company secretary, so he cannot exercise this power or right without getting the authorized permission or without getting the authority by the board of directors. As a company agent, company secretary cannot attend any meeting as a company agent without any consent from the board of directors. He requires authority from the board of directors to sign any contract on behalf of the company. So we are going to treat company secretary as a agent and the company as a principal, and you will be the link between the outsiders and the company. So as a agent, you are not allowed to attend the meeting without getting a permission from the board of directors. So here he requires authority from the board of directors to sign any contracts on behalf of the company, right? So what happened? So here, as I have explained you in the previous classes, so the rights, he has a right to sign the documents. So sign the documents on which the company's common seal is affixed, right? So the first, so here he requires a board of directors permission to sign the contracts on behalf of the company. The next is taking loan. A company secretary cannot take a loan in the name of the company. So if he is going to do so, he will be liable for such a loan.